Wow, guys, I cannot believe what I'm about to say. WWF Smackdown Just Bring It turns 20 years old this fall. 20. And I know when I do these memory videos, I always say like, oh, I feel so old, this ages me significantly, but this one really stings, guys. This one kicked me right in the gut. 20 years old? 2 decades? Are you kidding me right now? Man, the reason why it's so surreal to me is because I remember getting this game so vividly and playing it like it was yesterday. I just can't believe that 20 years has gone by like that, so fast, right? But anyways, I wanted to come on here today and just kind of give my thoughts on Smackdown Just Bring It, my memories with it, and where I think its place is in the Smackdown series. So yeah, it was the first game in the Smackdown series for the PS2, like I alluded to earlier, and it was my very first game on the console because when I got my PS2, I got 2 games. I got Simpsons Road Rage, shout out to everyone who's played Simpsons Road Rage, and I got Smackdown Just Bring It. And Road Rage did not get touched for weeks. I was all about Smackdown Just Bring It. And initially when I put in the game and saw the opening cinematic kind of cutscene where it showed, who was it? The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Kurt Angle, and The Undertaker. It showed clips of them doing their finishers to each other, and it was playing the Smackdown theme song. It was very hype. And I was blown away at the presentation, like just the graphics themselves in that cutscene. It was mind-blowing. Now, granted, you get into the gameplay and then you realize that those graphics are not at all what's in the game. You know, some people still say to this day that graphics have not caught up to the opening cinematic in that game. But they were excited about the PS2 and they wanted to show off what it was capable of, and that's what Just Bring It was all about. It was just a symbolic release in the Smackdown series that kind of let you know it was a peek into the future of what lied ahead and what the PS2 was capable of. And boy, was it capable of a lot, as shown in this game. I feel like Just Bring It was kind of like a tech demo of what the PS2 could do in a way, because there wasn't a whole lot of content there, right? I mean, you had your typical exhibition mode, you had a kind of basic create a superstar mode, very basic compared to like No Mercy, for example. And you had a brief little story mode, but it was fine. The story mode, like I said, was kind of like a snippet of what season modes would become going forward. But I'll get into that a little bit later. I wanted to talk about first just the presentation, the lighting in the arenas, the Titantrons, the entrances. Oh my goodness, the full entrances. They show the superstars walking all the way into the ring. That was a first for the Smackdown series. I remember thinking that was sick, that was awesome. And this is a period where the Smackdown series was really starting to find itself. And while I do think Just Bring It's play style is very beat 'em up style, I would very much classify this game as a beat 'em up. It's starting to show progression more into a simulation style presentation in that, like I mentioned earlier, the lighting, the entrances, everything was becoming very polished and very detailed. And I loved it. I was hooked. The gameplay is very fun. You could have 8 superstars in the ring at once in this game, in Battle Royales. 8 people! Now, that might not seem like a lot to some of you youngsters out there, but 8 people in the ring is something that you would not see return in the Smackdown series. In fact, you wouldn't see it return until like these recent 2K games. I don't know why that is. I don't know if like the processors just couldn't handle 8 superstars. 6 was always the limit after Smackdown Just Bring It. But 8 superstars in the ring, yeah, it may not seem like much, but even as a kid, I understood that it was a lot. But that's the kind of game that it was. You know, it was fun, fast-paced, action-packed. You could fight in the crowd. There was good weapon variety. The backstage areas were tremendous. This was just such a good game, and the roster. While I will concede that the roster is a little bit outdated compared to when it was released, because it was released in 2001 at the end of the Invasion angle, and the roster was like completed around like WrestleMania 17-ish, like the beginning of the year, before the Invasion angle started, so you didn't get guys like Booker T in the game. But the roster, I think, is still very good. I'm very nostalgic about that roster. You still get all the big names. There's some really cool unlockables. I think Jerry Lynn's unlockable to Jerry. Even Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit you can unlock. I know that's a pretty famous one if you did the Slobber Knocker mode with Undertaker. And yeah, Slobber Knocker mode was a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time in that mode. trying to unlock everything, and that kind of added to the replayability factor, the unlockables, the fact that you could unlock a lot of different stuff. Every time you completed a successful run in story mode, you'd get rewarded with some unlockables. And Shane and Stephanie, I think, were the last two. I remember grinding a lot to try to unlock those two. I don't know if I ever did. I think I did. I'd like to think I did. I have memories of playing with Shane on that game. But the story mode, yeah, let's get into that. So SmackDown 1 and 2 had very good season modes, right? I mean, they had like backstage cutscenes, and it was kind of a good entry point into what season modes would be. And then SmackDown Just Bring It took it to a whole nother level because you were able to roam backstage. Although it was timed, I remember as a kid just being so frantic and stressed out. I think that's where a lot of my anxiety that I have today kind of stemmed from, because I didn't want to miss out on anything, because that time backstage in SmackDown Just Bring It was precious. You guys know what I'm talking about? That time was very precious, and you had to find like a tag team partner. If Vince offered you a shot at the tag titles and you accepted, you'd have to go find a tag partner back there, and there's a whole bunch of shenanigans you could have gotten into. And I remember just scouring the whole backstage area, going in the boiler room, just trying to make sure that I could see everything I could, because it was not a lot of time at all. Now in Shut Your Mouth, they amended that by letting you just kind of free roam and not having a restriction on the time that you could spend backstage. But man, I have such fun. I mean, I say it was stressful, but I look back on it fondly now, because that it was part of what made the game fun. It was like a little recess, being able to go backstage and stuff. But fighting backstage was a lot of fun in this game. Like the previous SmackDown game, you were able to transition between backstage areas. So you could go from the ring to backstage, to the boiler room, to the parking lot, all that stuff. And that's something that we would see in the next couple SmackDown games as well, which I really like. It really made it feel kind of sandboxy in a way. It was like a choose-your-own-adventure. But it was a reflection of the WWF product on TV at the time, because a lot of those hardcore matches would go everywhere. Need I remind you about the triple threat hardcore match between Raven, Big Show, and Kane at WrestleMania 17, one of my favorite hardcore matches of all time. In the WWF, at least. I love that match. And I love this era, and that's why I think I look at SmackDown Just Bring It with rose-colored glasses, because I love that era so much. Holds a lot of nostalgia for me. It's when I went to like my first few wrestling shows, was around that time. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about the game. The story mode was great, because I feel like I never finished talking about the story mode. I started rambling about backstage areas. But the fact that, like I said, Vince McMahon would come to you at the beginning and offer you a choice if you wanted to challenge for the tag titles or not, you don't have to do it. And then you have branching storylines from there, where you can maybe challenge for the European title if you go into Commissioner Regal's office, or you could go after the WWF title if you challenge Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania if you wanted to. And all these story modes are very short. But they have replayability. It'll take you a few playthroughs to do everything that you possibly can do in story mode. And like I said, once you complete a story mode, you earn some unlockables as well. So that's incentive to keep playing. I just cannot believe that it's been 20 years since that game has released. Guys, I'm getting old. We're all getting old. Can you believe it? SmackDown Just Bring It, 20 years old. But I want to know what your guys' memories are with SmackDown Just Bring It. Do you look back on SmackDown Just Bring It as fondly as I do, or am I just getting crazy and senile in my old age? Yeah, I know I look so old, right? But yeah, I love this game, and where I would place it in the hierarchy of SmackDown games, I don't know. I made that tier list of my last video, I think, before this one was a tier list video, and I look back on that game very fondly. I think I may have put it in the C tier, maybe B tier. I have to look back. I forgot already. See, I did that on the fly. I did no notes and everything, but guys, SmackDown Just Bring It, 20 years old. Happy birthday, SmackDown. Next year, I'll buy you a beer on me. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you do all the YouTube stuff for me. Follow me on Twitch. I'll put all the links in the description, and I'll catch you guys next time on the lab. As always, happy birthday, SmackDown Just Bring It. Happy birthday.